now you have a situation, Your Honor, where this woman has incredible support, as you saw. Letters from Foxborough that were signed by about 15 women. Letters from her family, friends, letters from people she's known since the 6th grade that have stayed in touch with her. One thing that's a theme that is readily apparent is that Lindsay loved her children.
An outpouring of support for accused killer Lindsay Clancy, as her defense team says they've received dozens of letters sympathizing with postpartum depression.
She had worked for several years in a local hospital, and a number of co-workers have written letters in support of the defendant and her character. She's described in these letters as an exemplary worker, colleague, and friend.
At Clancy's first court appearance last week, defense attorney Kevin Reddington said many of the letters were written by people who knew Clancy personally, some who worked with her at Massachusetts General Hospital in the Labor and Delivery Department. Reddington says they describe her as a good mother, friend, and co-worker, arguing her medication caused her to spiral.
Your Honor saw, I think there's probably close to 50 letters that have been submitted to you, and I know you read every one of them. The incredible outpouring of support by other nurses that work at Mass General Hospital. The fact that these women have a vigil, that they write the letters to this court imploring you to understand that you sentence, as far as bail issue, the woman before you, who was a beautiful person, who was thoroughly destroyed by these medications.
Clancy now faces multiple charges, including murder and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Prosecutors say she strangled her 3 children, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan with exercise bands. After that, Clancy attempted suicide by jumping out of a 2nd-story window. Her husband, Patrick Clancy, was out running errands at the time of the incident. He arrived home to find Lindsay on the ground outside their house in Duxbury, Massachusetts.
During the 911 call, Patrick can be heard asking the defendant, "Where are the kids?" He later told police that she replied, "In the basement." So immediately after this happened, she knew what she had done and she knew where the kids were. When EMS arrived, he asked them to stay with her so he could go find his kids. The 911 call kept going. Patrick can be heard on the 911 call entering the home and heading to the basement. At one point, he calls out, "Guys." He can then be heard screaming in agony and shock as he found his children. His screams seem to get louder and more agonized as the time passes.
Days later, Patrick Clancy posted a statement on his family's GoFundMe page saying, quote, "I want to ask all of you that you find it deep within yourselves to forgive Lindsay as I have. The real Lindsay was generously loving and caring towards everyone, me, our kids, family, friends, and her patients." Clancy's defense team says the theme in many of her support letters is that she was a loving mother who should not be charged with her children's deaths.
She had pictures of her pregnant standing next to Patrick, hanging on the wall. I was in the house. The house is absolutely loaded with indicia of love for those kids. Photographs on the wall, little drawings, all sorts of games, toys, playpens, bassinets in the living room, in the dining room, the kitchen loaded with toys. Virtually the entire house, including their master bedroom.
Clancy appeared virtually from a hospital bed at her arraignment last week. Her attorneys say she is now paralyzed from the waist down as a result of her suicide attempt.
We all know that this woman is, as counsel concedes apparently, a danger to herself. I question whether she would ever make it to a trial. She's suicidal. She's extremely emotional.
While prosecutors argued Clancy should be jailed, Judge John Canavan ruled Clancy will remain in the hospital under supervision.
The court is going to make the following order on bail. The defendant shall remain in her current hospital until medically cleared to be moved to a new facility. As a condition of bail, the defendant is ordered not to leave the hospital until discharged to a new facility. The defendant shall provide notice to probation 48 hours in advance of any transfer to a different facility. Based on the letter of the doctor, it would appear likely that she would be sent from the hospital setting to a 24/7 rehabilitation facility.
Clancy's attorneys say some of the letters written to support her are from strangers, even some as far away as the United Kingdom. In the letters, they describe their own personal struggles with postpartum depression. Right now, Clancy is due back in court on May 2nd for a probable cause hearing. Reporting for Law&Crime Network, I'm Gillespie.